What's up, everyone? This is Content Corner, and this Content Corner is going to start a little different than it normally does. It's going to start with a little bit of candidness, I guess you could say. Today kind of sucked for me, so it's a little delayed on my end. Lots of personal stuff. I've got some health issues going on, and today was just one of those days that my body was like, nope, not today. Not today. So I think the best way that I can explain it is, you know that meme with the dog sitting in the room full of everything burning and he's just like, it's fine. That was me today. It's fine. Everything's fine. But everything wasn't fine. So it's 8:30 p.m. on a Friday night in New York, and I needed to get out of my apartment, and I needed to find something that brought me joy. And something that brings me so much joy is this. I know to everyone it's a simple video talking about an Apple TV show or a bad dating story or a random interview with someone, but to me it's kind of like my therapy. It's something that always puts a smile on my face. It's something that genuinely makes me happy. And so yeah, there's not a single person in this office right now, but this was the one thing I knew that I could do right today. So I'm here. I'm going to edit this after I record it, and it's probably going to go up at like 11 p.m. tonight, but it's still going to be in that Friday window. So I'm still going to hit my mark. Just so everyone knows, I'm okay. I will be okay. It's just one of those days. And I think everyone is allowed to have bad days. I don't think people say that enough. I think even talking about baseball or video games or boxing or, you know, random funny social media things or whatever we do here at Jamo Media, every single person in here has a bad day. Okay? It's normal. Everything's normal. Like, that's fine. Today was just one of those days for me. And being able to have the opportunity to sit down and do something like this and use my key card to get into a building where no one is in right now, to sit down in front of a camera and press record, knowing that I'm going to end this video with a bigger smile on my face than when I sat down, that makes today a win in my book. So it's all about finding those little joys and those little wins, even on your worst possible day. And today, this one's mine. On that sappy note, let's dive into the show, okay? So last night, I watched episode 5 of Lessons in Chemistry. Now, this episode essentially is now at the point that we left off episode 4 at, which was she was introduced to this idea of possibly having her own show. We got to know her daughter, which I love her. Episode starts off with us just seeing her like day-to-day life. She sells Tupperware, which is such a relatable thing. Not that I've ever sold Tupperware in my entire life, but the Tupperware party instantly reminded me of like those Mary Kay makeup parties or like a Pampered Chef party that you'd always go to. I always felt so awkward going to those things because I was like, if I say yes to coming to these parties, does that mean we have to buy something? You know? But I love her and her daughter's like relationship in regards to like going to the grocery store, doing this, doing that. What we see in this episode is we see her decide that giving this TV show a chance is something that she wants to try to consider because of the money, because she was trying to become a researcher at this other like research lab, and she went back to Hastings, and Hastings was like, you could come back here and we'll give you a full-time job, but you're not going to be a lead chemist, you're going to be a junior chemist, and you can be second to me. And the guy that was talking was one of the guys that stole her research. So she was just like, screw you, I'm out. And then that's when she was like, I am going to go be a scientist on TV. We see the evolution of her saying yes to being on the TV show, which I kind of like the clunkiness. I like the awkwardness. And we're also starting to see a strain in her and her daughter's relationship. Up until this point, we have never seen that before. They've always been them against the world, whatever. Her daughter starts getting really curious about her dad, which I think is such a normal thing. And on top of that, her daughter's like basically a genius. So she's too smart to be in the school she's in. She has to go to this private school, whatever. Another interesting storyline that I'm curious to follow is her daughter befriending the reverend at the church. This episode ends in a really interesting way. They are going to dinner, her and her daughter, and they are sitting in this booth, and Elizabeth is beginning to gain fame. That once she did her first test shoot, they got so many calls. People wanted to watch her, be there, whatever. For some reason, it clicked. I think it was the motivational speeches that she was giving at the end and the little nuggets of scientific life lesson knowledge. Love. But you can see her daughter pull back, or at least feeling as if she was being neglected and wasn't getting 100% of her mom like she had wanted. I think that's going to be something to watch as it unfolds. I also think that another thing to watch is just the dynamic of Elizabeth as a person, because the reason for taking this job for her was for money, so that she could get enough money to send her daughter to a nice private school, which is better for her academically, to challenge her more. What I'm curious to see is if this lifestyle of the glitz and glam and the TV and the shiny things and all of that kind of becomes who she is. Because in that first episode that we saw her with the fans. We saw her being told it'd be nice for you to smile more. And so I'm curious to see the evolution of that. I'm curious to see her break, if that makes sense, in a not twisted way. I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot different of these relationships kind of evolving. Also, Harriet and her husband. I know that Harriet then is now a lawyer, which is great, but her husband, there was this one scene where he was like, okay, bye, goodbye. And then Elizabeth was like, I thought he wasn't doing the graveyard shift anymore. And she was like, I thought so too. Trouble in Paradise? Not sure. I'm not entirely sure. Also, part of me wonders if Elizabeth is going to date the Reverend. I know that's a little strange, but just a thought. I think there might be something there. Some other content that I've been ingesting is lots of TikToks. I really gotta chill out on the TikToks. I'm like, I go from like one TikTok rabbit hole to the next. I mean, as of late, I'm really in on the perfume TikTok. I wouldn't ever consider myself a perfume connoisseur, but I love smelling good. And so I will find myself, if I watch one too many videos about perfume, that then all I get is perfume TikToks. I've also began to realize that I get a lot of cat videos because I send all of them to my sister, who is a cat lady. Yeah, I also want to know if I'm the only person that will, like, if I'm getting ready and if I don't have like a podcast or a sports game, whatever behind me, I will just have my phone, like TikToks, just like playing, like interview clips, like things like that. And I'll just like scroll until I find a long one. Then I'll sit there and listen to it. Is that weird? Am I the only one that does that? Maybe. Well, this episode is going to be a little bit shorter because part of it is going to be a therapy session. The other part of it is going to be watching lessons in chemistry. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble at nearly 10 o'clock on a Friday night. You guys are the best. Goodbye.